up, everybody? It is the No Notes podcast here with your boy Matty B and H Double. And today we have a very acclaimed guest on the podcast, Connor Mantz. He runs for, or used to run for BYU. Has won a couple national championships in cross country, and has recently just signed for Nike in the cross country and track world. So we're super excited to have him on the show and have him come. So we greatly appreciate it, Connor.
Well, thanks for having me.
Do you want me to go first?
No problem. Well, I'll start us off with a question.
Okay, you want to go?
Kind of take me through how you got into running, why you chose that sport, and kind of give me a little bit of your journey of how you got to where you are right now.
Yeah, so my journey was a little bit different than most people who start running. I began as when I was young, I swam and played soccer, not very similar sports to running, but I guess soccer is. And then my older brother did a half marathon with my dad when I was probably only 8 years old, maybe 9 years old at the time, and I wanted to do that. And so by the time I was 12, my parents signed me up for a half marathon, and they're like, all right, go try to finish it. My dad was like, just go run 3 days a week and I'll sign you up for it. And I was excited, and I finished it, and I ran. It was probably, it was a good, respectable time for a 12-year-old, nothing like, record breaking by any means, but it was enjoyable. And so I was like, oh, I want to do it again, as I was playing soccer and still doing these other sports. It's just kind of in a recreational sense. And up until I was in high school, I did about 2 half marathons a year, and I slowly got better and better on the road racing scene. And so I jumped into cross country in high school because that was kind of the next, the real level of where things are. And had a lot of success in high school, and I was recruited to run for BYU. Decided to go there and run, and had a successful career there.
Yeah, so kind of going off of that, what was the recruitment process like for you? Because you obviously went to BYU, but were there any other schools that were interested, and how was that whole process?
Yeah, there were a lot of schools interested. I don't know. I kind of had at the time, I think it was every top 10 school, but a few in the country was interested. And so I just kind of narrowed it down to 4 different schools, and just kind of each of them had something unique about them. So Furman University in South Carolina was building a new program. They had a bunch of funding, and it was just a new, it was like, they kind of sold it as this is the beginning of what we believe is going to be a dynasty. And then I was recruited by Princeton. And that was one of my top choices. And it was we're going to be yeah, you'll be really good as an athlete, and we have a lot of really good athletes, but you'll be a student athlete, and we think you'll get better experiences in the classroom here than anywhere else. And I think at the time they had the #1 ranked overall undergrad program for just futures and setting up your life. And so I took a visit there, took a visit to Furman in South Carolina, took a visit to Oklahoma State, which was at the time one of the top programs in the country, and then took a visit to BYU. And then as time went on, it just, I took a lot longer to sign and commit than most people would. I didn't commit till May of my senior year. And I committed to BYU, and yeah, that was that.
Matt's happy you went there.
Yeah.
Yes,
I have too. I have too.
Yeah.
Parents were encouraging. Oh, not my parents. My extended family was encouraging of Princeton, but I chose BYU because worked out. Best coach in the country, in my opinion. So
there we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So to kind of go off of that, Connor, you and I are in the same religion, Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, and you ended up serving a mission in Ghana. Can you kind of take us through that process of like going from running every day, mission, for 2 years, not being able to run as much or as train as much as you wanted to then kind of getting reacclimated into that running scene? Like, how hard was that, or
Yeah, it was really difficult. So I got sent on a mission to Ghana. I went out right out of high school, so it really, I don't know, it helped me push off, I guess, the decision to go to where to go to college, because I was like, oh, okay, like I'm not even gonna go to the school for 2 years, so I'll make the decision later. Got sent to Ghana in West Africa, and it was a very humbling experience, very life changing, being there, but also serving and teaching the gospel of Jesus Christ. It was just very, very different than what I would have expected, one, but two, also anything I had done up to that point. And running took a back seat, and I got out of shape. I think I gained 30 pounds in the first 8 months, and then I stayed kind of stagnant. I think naturally my body is just a little heavier if I'm not working out, which makes sense. I get a little, I don't know, some days I'd run a mile or two, some days I wouldn't get a run at all. Just kind of went in waves. And then after I got back, I don't know, I tried to take running seriously, but Coach Eista knows how to go slow in the sport. So he was like, okay, you come on, maybe the first week you're going to run 15 minutes a day or 20 minutes a day. And then you do a long run on Saturday of 25 minutes. And that's the goal. It's just 25 minutes, not stopping. And then the next week, it's like, okay, 20 minutes a day, most days, maybe 25 on Sundays. And then you do a long run of 30 minutes a day. And it's this process of just slowly building up how much time you run every day. And so by the end of the summer, I was running more than I did in high school, but it was like also a lot slower because I was not fit. We did a few workouts, and I was at the back for most of them. And so it took about, I don't know, 5-6 months till I was close. I was probably in our top 7, top 8, maybe, I don't know. Yeah, about that range. And so as time went on, it was like kind of difficult to get in shape, but I don't know, I think the Lord blesses us as we serve. And also just felt like, not just that, but I felt like there's a lot of growth coming back for future injuries I would have, and just knowing, okay, like if I get hurt and I get out of shape, it's not the end of the world. I can come back from it. Long answer to a short question.
No, thank you. That was awesome. Thank you, Connor.
And yeah, that leads me into, this is a good transition into my next question, because you mentioned the goal, just 15 minutes a day when you get back. That's not too much. You're in the back of workouts, all this stuff, and you end up becoming, now you are 2-time NCAA champion, correct?
Right.
So first off, that's amazing accomplishment, but did you ever think that something like you could accomplish something like that? Or did you have struggles with confidence maybe when you're coming back and you're like, I'm in the back of workouts? Like, how was you said it was difficult, but how confident were you in your ability and to be as good of a runner as you can? And obviously it's paid off, but what was that like when you're in the back and just trying to make it survive to get to where you are now?
Yeah, I think it definitely hurt my confidence a lot, because I going to BYU, I was like, all right, I'm gonna go here because I think I can be the best athlete I can be when I'm here. And I think that's something that I was like, this is what I want to focus on. I think this is where not saying their education is anything inferior by any means. I love the education I've gotten so far, and I've learned a ton, but I was like, I want to go to BYU because I believe Coach Eistone is the best coach. And then, getting those first few months on the team and being like, man, I don't even know if I'm going to be a good runner again. Like, I'm not maybe I'm not a good athlete. Maybe that was just like a high school thing, and that's it. And so that confidence was pretty low by that time, that I was just like, okay, I don't know what's gonna happen. A lot of doubts come in your mind. Like there were even times I considered, like quitting the team, just because I was like, I know I'm on scholarship. Some guys aren't on scholarship who are ahead of me. And just kind of things like that. It's like, okay, like this is difficult. But I don't know, I had a lot of good friends, good motivators on the team, and were like, hey, it's gonna work out. And it ended up working out. It just took some time, but yeah, like I always believed I could be an NCAA champ, but then a lot of doubts came the first, I don't know, 4 or 5, maybe even 6 months as a back from the mission.
Yeah, that's crazy. You went from wanting to maybe quit the team to a 2-time NCAA champion, you know?
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, well, thanks.
So I have kind of a two-part question for you, Connor. One, we want to know kind of when that turning point was, like if it was a race, something like that. But my second question is this: give us like your favorite workout that you love to do, and the least favorite workout. Like when you hear it, you're like, dang,
Yeah.
this is the one I really don't like, but I'm going to do it because I know it makes me better,
And I'm
Right.
just going to add on to Matt's second part real quick. And, this is something, because I've ran as well, but like, what's also a good way for you to like get in the zone, when the miles just fly by and the time flies by. And so I just want to also ask that alongside of top of Matt's question about workouts. But yeah.
Sweet. Okay, so first question, when did I realize things were gonna get better? I think it was that around Christmas break, or maybe even before Christmas break, I had a couple of good workouts with the team, and then I ran a race. I was kind of sick, but I ran a time that it was a 3,000 meter, and in high school you do a 3,200 meter. But like the equivalent, if you add the 35 seconds or so, was better than the time I ran in high school. And it was kind of nice being like, oh, okay, like I am better than I was in high school. And so that was a little bit of a turning point, but also the workouts around that time too started really not feeling as hard. I wasn't in the back as much. And so I was like, okay, like I think eventually it's gonna work out where I'm gonna be good. Favorite workout. So I have a few. So we do like a 5-mile tempo. That's always been something that's been a staple for me. Something I've really liked. I really enjoy, and maybe it's because they're not as hard, but like longer workouts, not as intense. So like a 5-mile tempo or 3x2 mile, or trying to think. One I've grown to love that I used to hate was 4x mile at close to like a 5K pace, and it wears on you. And I've kind of grown to like it a little more, but up until I think about last year, I really despised it because it was such a grind. Workouts that I don't like are they're workouts that a lot of people do in training for the mile. 8x400 meters. So you get 90 seconds rest. You try to do it at like pretty close to what your mile pace is. And I can't even hit it every time, and it's really a frustrating workout for me because I'll train with some of my teammates, and some of them will just they'll run 58, 59 seconds for a quarter mile 7 times, and then they hit the last one in 52 seconds. And I'll do the first 7 with them. I'll do the first 4 comfortably with them on my best days, and then the next 3 I'll really struggle with, and then maybe the last one I'll sit out because I'm too tired. And it's a grind for me because it's not my specialty. But I think everybody has their thing. I mean, I did that workout last week, and I think for the first 5, there were 3 of us running together, and then the last 3, I think one of the guys took off, and me and the other guy just stayed together with as the other guy just blew us out of the water. But I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not good at 400s either. I've done them in the past. They're rough. I'm not a sprinter.
Yeah.
But yeah, so, kind of going, kind of timeline, like obviously you are a two-time NCAA champ. We've already said that. What was it feeling like crossing it for the first time? Did you have like maybe like a high, like, oh my gosh, I'm an NCAA champion, or was it just, did it feel still normal? What was that like? And then also the second one, did that maybe feel more normal than the first? Just how was that emotion, being an NCAA champion, having that to your name?
The first one, I definitely like, there were a lot of times the NCAAs are always kind of tricky because you think you can be an NCAA champion for a while sometimes, but then it's like somebody just races better. And so the first time it was like I expected it and I hoped for it, but it wasn't until like I crossed the finish line and I'm like, oh, okay, like whoa, that actually happened. And I think my first thoughts were after I crossed the finish line is I was looking back to see where my teammates were. And two of my teammates were, I don't know, in the top 15 at the time. But one with 200, 300, 400 meters to go collapsed. And it was kind of rough because it's a 10K race. So, you get, I don't know, 96% of the race done and you're in top. He was in 10th. And then you collapse just due to exhaustion and don't finish. That's kind of scary. So I was worried about him when I found out about that. And then we had another guy who finished, I think, 13th or so. And I just kind of wondering where they were because they've been very close to me in races in the past. So I was wondering why they were so far back. But I think it did hit me. Like it was weird because it hit me like gradually after the first one. And I was like, I didn't really know if like to believe it. It took like a couple weeks for me to be like, oh, like that actually happened. But then the second go around, it was like, the second go around, it was like, okay, like I'm obviously like the favorite. I'm obviously like who everyone's gonna expect to get the win, and everyone's watching me. And so I just gotta go make sure I do what I know how to do. And it was tough. I think the second one, they were both tough in their own way. The first one was more physically tough. The second one was a little more mentally tough because just knowing eyes are on you. So I think that like second one, I was like, oh, everybody's keying off me. Everybody is like, this is the guy to beat. And so that made it a little more stressful, but I knew I was fit. I knew I could, I don't know, go out there and just compete and do well. And so I just kind of focused on the process, Hope that makes sense.
Yeah, it did, champion.
It did. This might be a little bit of a weirder question for you before we get into why you signed with Nike and that kind of thing, Connor. But you gotta tell me about if it's a tradition to not shave and grow a stash until the NCAA championship, something like that. I've noticed that basically you shave and then once postseason running happens, you don't shave. So is there like a little postseason thing you guys do, or what's with the stashes?
Yeah, so it used to be like a big thing. Seems like a lot of the NCAA moved away from it, but like mustaches were like it was like they called it stashies at Nashies. And so you'd grow out a mustache for nationals, and then it'd be like a whole every team did it in the NCAA for a while, and now it's really died down. But I kept the tradition alive. A lot of my teammates kind of let it die, but yeah, it's just kind of a thing of like, I don't know, for fun, I guess. Yeah, it's not like a very very like big thing. I don't know. We encourage it on the team. And kind of like dude, grow your mustache out, like just kind of, I don't know, being dudes, but it's like nothing very, I don't know, nothing. It's not as big as it used to be, I guess. So people are just like, okay, like we'll do it.
And then, yeah, what Matt was about to say, we're going to jump into now is you are technically a pro or considered a pro, and you forgave your final year of eligibility and you're with Nike. And so I just want you to kind of, take us through that, how that decision came about, and then why Nike. And then also, I just want to, second part to that is you have, as Matt said, engineering degree. I don't know if you're graduated or if you're in the process of, but then what maybe besides running you want like as a future goal as well, and if it has something to do with it. So just kind of the future plans and how you got there, the decision and all.
Yeah, so I decided with Nike because one, their shoes are great. I actually really they've been doing a lot of stuff with the new marathon shoes, the new spikes, they got some new road running shoes that I've been able to look at and test out that are coming out, I think sometime next month. And so the shoes are great. The people at the company were when I got met with them, I meshed well with them. And then I don't know, they have a lot of good opportunities for their athletes. There's a few training groups around the world that I could go and train with, and other companies didn't have the same caliber of athletes and training groups that were in the United States. And so I was like, like Nike, with their shoes, the groups, the technology, it seemed like they were a good fit. And so yeah, I just decided I would go with them and yeah, compete, and they offered me a good deal, and so I went with them.
What is like what a future goal as well besides running? I'm taking a little bit more personal, that you kind of have.
Yeah, so engineering degree. So I've always wanted to either do something that's going to help a lot of people. I served my mission in Ghana, and electricity was a big issue there. Just having enough of it. So they'd occasionally, depending on what power line you're on, they'd turn your power line off, leave the other one on, and they turn the other one off, they turn yours back on, and it was just kind of a major problem. So I wanted to get into renewable energy, preferably clean renewable energy, but I just wanted to get more into that to help out a lot of people. If that didn't work, I also wanted to get into do some stuff in the medical field, medical engineering, medical device engineering, and I've had some opportunities there due to I don't think I could talk too much about them on a podcast just because of confidentiality and patents and whatnot, but doing some of that for my capstone project, and then some research on campus. So working on a paper for one of those, so it's been fun.
Yeah, I love where your head heart's at, man. So
well, I just I don't know, I want to do some good in the world, and running's nice, but like there's plenty of professional athletes in the world. Like we have no shortage of people who could be a professional athlete, but what we have a shortage of is, we don't necessarily have a shortage of engineers, but we could always use more.
I love it, man. I love it. Did you have one last thing you wanted to ask, Matt, or do you want to do like the stat real quick? Because I know it's about time. So
I know it's about time for Connor to go. Just one question for Connor. I know Olympics are in 2024. Right now, if they had to start, what race are you wanting to participate in, or even try to go if Olympics is part of your goal? Just answer that real quick, and then we can do Charles' thing. But Olympic wise, what are you looking at in 2024?
10K and the marathon. I think I'll do the marathon trials first, and then if I don't make it in that, maybe even if I do, I'll do the 10K on the track, and who knows, maybe I'll do the 5K as well. I don't know. That's a lot of that's a big range. But I think as long as I'm competitive, I wanna compete in the Olympics. So it's like I'll go all in, if that makes sense.
Hey, that's
Hey, that's
perfect
what we like.
for the perfect for the stat game, since 10K is probably your goal. I forgot what website I got this from. I forgot to write it down. So it's on them if they're wrong, because it might be different. So you can blame them, not us. But what is your best 10K on the track, you believe, or at least that's recorded on the internet?
Oh, running's probably the sport you'll find people who know their PRs very well. So 10K 27:41.
It is
Probably
right. The beyond that, like the next two.
0.1, I want to say 0.16.
Yeah, you're right. Actually, you're right on the dot.
Yeah, the reason I got that one down so well is because I missed my coach had the school record and I missed it by 0.11.
So that's in your head. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I'll always be number 2 on the BYU 10K board.
Yeah, man. I love it. Thanks for the time, man. Really appreciate
Well,
it.
thank you guys too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we
Super.
appreciate it, Connor.
Yeah.
And for everyone who wants to go follow Connor, his Instagram is at Connor Mantz. And I believe all the other stuff is there too. We'll tag him in all the links and podcast information that we have. But everyone go support him, give him some love. And Connor, we can't thank you enough for joining our podcast. It means a lot to us, but we're also glad to get to know you more, and hopefully more people can get to know you too. So,
All right. Well, thank you guys.
Man. Best of luck in the pro career. All right. Have a good rest of your night. All right.
You guys too.
see you, Connor. Bye.
See ya.